Oh, hi folks, I'm Matt and welcome to My Expanded Universe, a show where I go through the entire EU in chronological order as best I know how. Folks, we are still going through the Tales from Mos Eisley series, and oh wow, are there some good short stories I am ready to talk about. The first one is called Nightlilly, A Lover's Tale, by Barbara Hamley. Now, it follows the Imperial Trevag, who is a Gotel that you see in the cantina, and he falls in love with this other girl, Himnithith. I don't remember how you pronounce her name, but she's the blue one with the beak. And they're in that one scene where he's got his arm around her and they're laughing it up, you know, at one of the tables. And it actually talks about that scene. Now, Trevag is not a nice person. He's a Gotel who is just mean. He's stingy. He's heartless. He's shutting down a lady at the very beginning, shutting down her business, and he's going to try to buy it out for really cheap. And so anyway, he meets this girl, and he just falls in love with her. He loves her, and he sees that she is new. She doesn't know where she is. She's not supposed to be stuck. She's stuck on Tatooine. She's trying to get home. She doesn't have enough money to pay some port fee, which he made up. It's a fake fee just to get some more money. But Trevag is like, no man, I'm gonna put the moves on this girl. And so he's like sweet talking her, taking her out, goes to Mos Eisley, gets her some drinks, gets her some more drinks. So, he's gonna get the Gotel there. All right, so anyway, he's trying to get this girl, right? And then, of course, there is a twist at the end. Now, I do not want to spoil the ending, which is really good. I do want to talk about the book on tape of the same title. This is one of the short stories from Tales of Mos Eisley that I actually put on audio, and you could get the tape and listen to basically not someone read the story, but them acting out the story. You'd have someone, thinking about this and then saying the lines and talking to the characters. And the old audio tapes back then were really good, I thought. They told a lot of the story in a different way. It's like you're listening to an audio dramatization. And I'd heard for the longest that this particular story had bonus stuff on the audio that wasn't in the short story. And like a lot of stuff too. So I was very interested about this. Now, the time I found that out, 2 days later, before I went online and started finding a copy to get, my cousin, who buys a lot of used books and sells them on eBay, brought me that book on tape. He said, hey man, I don't know what this is. You're an Expanded Universe guy. Do you want it? And I was like, dude, I was just talking about that. And so I got it. But I had to go back and read the short story before listening to the tape, so that way I could be able to determine how much new stuff is in it that's not in the book. And folks, it's not that much. Besides the obvious stuff of, him giving some extra, dialogue about this and that, they do explain a scene at the end. The short story, I should say, skips ahead one night. It skips to the next morning and basically gives you the aftermath. The audio gives you the night a little bit, which is like only a minute of the tape. I mean, honestly, it's not that much, maybe a minute and a half tops. And so, do you need the audio version of this book to get the deleted scene? No, you don't. There's really not that much. In fact, I don't even think what they put in there should have been explained anyway. I think it's better that you just read the short story. Now, I'm glad I had the chance to read it, and I always like listening to those old Star Wars audio books on tape. But the short story is the way to go. Don't believe the rumor that there's all this, extra dialogue or extra scenes on the short tape than there is on the book. It's simply not true. Now, the next story is called Empire Blues. This is the Devorian's Tale. This is written by Daniel Keyes Morgan, and this is talking about the Devorian who was featured in the cantina. He is a music lover, a former Imperial officer, and also a traitor to his people. All in one, baby. All in one. I love it. Now, the Devorian was one of my favorite characters as a kid. When I saw him, I was like, cool, who is that? Satan was in the cantina and no one said anything? No, of course, they were just trying to get any costume they could think of, and someone said, hey, let's put horns on the guy. But he ended up being, the buzz of the movie. You're like, who is that dude? That's awesome. So this guy got to write him. Instead of making him super spooky and scary like he could have, no, he made him fun. He's a music lover. He broke the mold from what I would see when I looked at a picture of a Devorian. I would not have guessed any of the thing that Daniel Keyes Morgan wrote. And it's fantastic. It's a fantastic story. I really, really enjoyed it. I love how they keep you guessing on what these characters are going to actually be like from the Cantina. The next short story is written by Jennifer Robinson. It's called Soup's On, and this is the pipe smoker's tale. Basically, it talks about the Anzati who was there smoking the old piece of pipe or whatever it was, and kind of analyzing the room for his next victim. As you know, Anzati are snot vampires. Little tentacles pop out of their cheeks, which is super scary, shoot up through your nose and suck out your brain or whatever. And they look for people whose soup is hot, his soup is cool. What does that mean? Soup means they've lived an adventurous life. They're really good. They're daring. They're risk takers, and he is really impressed with Han Solo. This is another one. Another guy. This is a nerdy-looking guy with, he has curly hair or whatnot, and he's sitting there smoking a little pipe. And you think, man, what a sissy, right? If I think anyone's going to eat Han Solo's brain, it's going to be the Devorian. It's not going to be this little pipe smoker guy here who looks really doofus. He looks like a doofus. But she made him so cool and brought Anzatis to life with us. And I was like, holy cow, I could see it in my head as all this was happening. I was like, oh, whoa, this is scary. I remember Troy Denning once told me that, he had a story that he wanted to write about Anzati, in the Star Wars universe, going forward, wreaking havoc, because they're like the vampires of the universe. And I gotta admit, I love that idea because it's really cool. So here again, we have a character who is not what you expected he would be. Just wonderful. Now, the next short story is written by my man, Kevin J. Anderson. And it's called Swap Meet. It's the Jawas Tale. In this one, Het Nick seeks revenge on the Imperials for blowing up that sandcrawler. It's basically the Jawa equivalent of Die Hard. I love it. He doesn't say yippee-ki-yay. He says, hey, yippee-ki-yay. No, he doesn't say anything like that. I wish he did, though. It is a great story about a Jawa who's mad. All his friends, his relatives, they have died at the hands of Imperials. He knows it's not the Sand Raiders. It's got to be the Imperials. He figures that out, and he is going with a loaded blaster, and he's going to gun him down some Imperials and get revenge, like street justice, baby. Now, I know Kevin J. Anderson must have been giggling to himself when he typed this up. He went, this is fantastic. I love it. What's a Jawa do in the Cantina? You'll know soon enough. Now, actually, this is part one of a two-part story, and his wife would write part two. And I'll talk about that next time in another video.